disrespect ourselves subconsciously, right? Because a lot of people unknowingly disrespect themselves subconsciously and then wonder why is it that other people are disrespecting them. But here's the thing, right? Anything that happens to us externally, how we react and respond to it, how we even build up a circumstance situation like that to even be disrespected in the first place, would say that we're in a particular space ourselves. So when we're in that particular space ourselves, and then someone is being disrespected, it's because internally they're not actually respecting themselves. If that person actually respected themselves, then the other people around them will come to the conclusion that, hey, I must respect this because this person is operating with a disposition that says, hey, I respect me and I love me, right? Let's say someone doesn't love themselves, let's say someone doesn't even respect themselves. That means they're going to operate in the world in a way that suggests that they are basically all peasants, because a peasant doesn't respect themselves. A peasant allows themselves to, be spat on by other people and things of that nature. So when you're somebody that respects them, hey, what's up, open eye beat? Yes, when you're somebody that respects yourself, man, you're not going to be disrespected by other people because of the way that you carry yourself, because you actually have something called self-respect. And self-respect comes when you know yourself, you know your attributes, you know your characteristics, you know who you are, you know what you do, and you move forward based on that particular purpose, right? You got a particular mandate. You're the one you're the sovereign putting forth your own amendments, your own rights. You're the sovereign of your reality, your own internal universe, right? But if we're disrespecting ourselves, let's say subconsciously we have a negative opinion and negative perspective about ourselves, not necessarily healthy. That negative opinion, that negative perspective is going to be a mirror which we will view ourselves by. And when we live our life by that mirror, we generate those possibilities. You might even say something about yourself that's disrespectful, like, hey, I'm not good enough. Well, if you say to people, you don't have a choice but to expect people to disrespect you. Someone might look at you like, hey man, nah, it's okay, man. But at the end of the day, people will look at you like you must be a loser because you've identified yourself as a loser. So when you identify yourself as something, I am, the other people will identify you as that thing as well. So whenever you jump into that mentality of, subconsciously disrespecting yourself, however you disrespected yourself, you will invite other people to disrespect you in the exact manner too, because you can't be bullied unless you first bully yourself. Um, you know, nothing can overcome you from outside of you unless you overcome yourself from within you first. So it's all about this internal disposition that you got about yourself, right? You said I appreciate all the wisdom and the real good game helps me a lot of life. Yeah, real shit, man. I be speaking it because I be needing this really. So I'm really talking to myself while I'm talking to the world. But yeah, man, this don't disrespect yourself subconsciously. You really got to look at your own wiring, your own subconscious to see, am I really disrespecting myself every day? Because here's the thing: if you ever manifest anyone disrespecting you from outside of you, just know the starting point was always you, right? So you blame other people. You can't hate other people if you're not experiencing the stuff that you want to experience in life. Is because that means that individual, that person, is still operating under a subconscious pattern that does not allow them to realize that and render that reality consciously because they're still living from that subconscious embedded perspective. And when we talk about the subconscious, well, you're talking about things that have accumulated for so long that, it may be hard to get rid of these energies in the form of thoughts and feelings that, maybe may form a negative belief system. Negative belief system will make us create a negative reality and a negative life, right? So it gets really weird, right? Because you can really identify with that visual that doesn't allow you to experience the things that we say we want to experience, right? And then when you identify really strongly with the loser in you, not the winner, then hey, so what can an individual expect other than manifesting these people, places, and things that look at them that way? Because if we look at ourselves negatively in the first place, then of course we're gonna be adding or inviting individuals to, treat us a particular manner, right? Like if someone is disrespecting themselves subconsciously, it's really an attitude that they have towards themselves and towards the body, some form of insecurity, some form of perceived inability to do something, and that perception of themselves, that perception of lack, creates a lifestyle of lack. And so when you're living from a place, you're not creating circumstances and situations that are actually fulfilling. We're actually getting circumstances and situations that say, I'm lacking. And so we're confirming this bias to ourselves that we are lacking something, right? And we're creating this life of lack rather than fulfilling our life via the circumstances and situations that we experience, how we want to fulfill it and shit, right? Because a lot of the times people repeat experiences, right? To recreate the same meet the same person through like different people, but it's the same energy, They'd be dealing with the same person at a different place or doing the same thing, but if they still dealing with the same energy because that subconscious pattern hasn't been dealt with, right? So let's say, for example, someone is being disrespected at their workplace, right? And they say, hey, you know what, man? I'm gonna move out of this workplace because I want to be respected. So you go into another workplace where you feel like you're gonna be disrespected, but were you gonna be respected, right? Because you was moving out of that workplace because you felt disrespected. But the thing is, the only reason your coworkers, the only reason your manager disrespected you is because you was fucking disrespecting yourself in the first place. Can nobody motherfucking disrespect you if you can nobody disrespect you if you don't disrespect yourself first? Because people are seeing you by how you see yourself. So we gotta understand subconsciously that people are gonna try to make you their bitch. Basically, just plain and simple, right? The government's gonna make you their bitch. Someone's gonna make you their bitch. Shit. Your wife, your girlfriend might make you their bitch. But it's about your disposition that says, am I a bitch or am I not a bitch? Right? And that subconscious disposition, if not like if you're not looking at what you're manifesting as experiences, people, places, and things, because that says a lot about you, right? The shit that a person tolerates in their life says a lot about them as an individual. A person that tolerates bullshit, a person that tolerates being disrespected, a person that tolerates a negative self attitude and a negative life. That person that's tolerating a life of negativity. So a lot of people are happy being happy. For some reason in this world, it has been very normalized for people to be happy being unhappy, right? People create all these cancers, create all these mental illnesses, all these diseases because people are happy being unhappy. Like it's normal world to be unhappy, right? And actually cope with that unhappiness and allow yourself to be unhappy and stuff like that. And that gets really strange. But again, it all comes from this subconscious underlying pattern that is operating behind the scene that's causing an individual to consciously create this lifestyle of, this negative lifestyle, right? Or this negative feedback loop from the external circumstances, situations, and people, places, and things they are amongst. It's all based upon the attitude they have and how they deal with themselves internally. A person that doesn't know how to deal with their negative thoughts and feelings about themselves will generate a negative experience in life because their perspective is that of a person that is unable, can't, life is hard, life is difficult. And if we're embedded in that perspective, then of course we're going to perceive, because we are our reality. Whatever you perceive in reality, that is exactly who you are. Because the mind is a filter for reality. But however, if we don't modify that filter, if we don't start to look at, I keep experiencing this again and again and again. Let me look back on subconscious mind. What thought, what feeling that is subconsciously embedded in that is causing me to be attached to this trait that creates this behavior, that creates this lifestyle, or that creates this life, right? Because the starting point is always going to be your mind. And when a person is not dealing with their mind actively, aka doing shadow work, to do maintenance, they're going to spiral back into old patterns and shit like that, right? So that means that person has to actively engage in the betterment of their life on a basis. Because if you don't engage in the betterment of your life on a daily basis, then and we're being lost in the external world, let's say for example, like I'm not saying there's anything wrong with smoking cigarettes, but it's about balance as well, right? If you smoke so much, you gotta ask yourself what's going on within you that's causing you to do all that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with indulging, but if you're smoking, let's say 11 cigarettes per fucking day, and okay, it's like, why is somebody actively chasing that high outside of them? Because we should be able to create that high from inside of us, right? A lot of the times, like people smoke because they're trying to get things, especially like cigarettes. They're trying to like forget about pain, forget about, some sensation that is being developed in their body, and the cigarette is a good way to kill that and stuff like that because you're literally actually killing yourself and killing your cells within that process. But that manifested behavior itself is a byproduct of a subconscious, unconscious thing that has not been dealt with, right? Because a lot of people look, art is therapy, doing music is therapy. Shit, me getting on here and talking about my problems, that's therapy. So there's better forms to engage in this therapeutic transformation of the mind and body through the agency of the spirit, right? Are what we pay attention to. We are what we observe. And if we're constantly observing and allowing behaviors to spiral that are unhealthy, then that means we're not regulating ourselves. The mind is not regulated. The mind is just spiraling. So it's good for the mind to spiral, but we want to spiral into an existence that is poor rather than spiral into a life of self-destruction and a life of destruction ourselves, right? Because it's like, man, when you look at life as pointless, when you look at life as meaningless, when you look at shit like, there's no point to any shit. All this might as well be normal. It's like some real shit. But yeah, man, from what I've seen personally, the only reason people ever get disrespect by anyone, shit, by their mom, dad, I mean, that's not a good example, by their friends, let's say, or by their colleagues at work, is because that person is actively disrespecting themselves. They just don't know that they're actively disrespecting themselves because whatever opinion they got, whatever mental loop, whatever cycle they got going on in their head, they have normalized that so much. Think about it. A person can normalize being a fucking loser, telling themselves that they're a loser, that they're a sucker, they can't get shit in life done because X, Y, and Z, or because of an experience in the past. We can sit here and identify with an experience that happened to us. We can sit here and identify with a thought pattern that has been that we have reaffirmed continuously to the point that we become that pattern. But we have to understand that we are just the connecting those neurons via our observations. Like if every day you're so thankful and you're so grateful, your mind will start to build connections of being grateful and being thankful, and that will be an automatic response that your mind starts to generate when you're living life and shit like that. But if you start to think and identify and feel that I'm a loser, I'm a sucker, and I don't know how to deal with life, and I'm scared and shit, you're creating that wiring subconsciously. And that becomes such a powerful neural network that you identify with that. And that begins to take grasp of your mind like a fist being on top of your head, shit like that, right? That's why people make these allegories and religions about demons and shit like that. It's all just really a disposition, a state of being, a state of mind that a person is resonating with that is causing them to generate that type of lifestyle. But they may be so attached to it that they protect the parasite. Think about when we're addicted, right? Let's say I'm addicted to smoking cigarettes. I know that smoking cigarettes every day is bad for me and I'm not quitting, but I'm still gonna go do it every day because I'm so connected to that behavior. So a person that's so conditioned or is so deep into being a fucking loser is gonna be doing that behavior while telling themselves that, hey, I need to stop being a loser to become a fucking winner. But if they're so attached to those behaviors, they're so attached to those thoughts and feelings, they're so attached to that reality, they believe in that shit wholeheartedly. Of course, that's going to be the reality they're going to generate subconsciously. They're not going to be able to do much about it. It's based upon like not being able to separate. So that's where awareness is really important. But when you look at your life, when you look at what you're manifesting, people, places, and things, circumstances, and situations, you got to ask yourself, damn, is that what I want to keep experiencing? And if the answer is no, then you have to learn to detach from these constant feelings, this state of being that you're so wildly into, that you're so screwed into, that got people screwed, to actually and begin to pay attention and to give your energy and to feed a new pattern. This way, the neural networks, the connections that you want your mind to develop, and as a connection to reality, to your life and behaviors and stuff like that, can be different. So this way you can go from feeling like a loser to feeling like a fucking winner. But it's not even about those two. It's really just about observing contact. Because when you get into that stuff like quantum traveling and stuff, right? Because reality is all that is possible. Reality is all possibilities. So you can make anything possible with your mind. But you got to be consciously aware of what you're doing. And when you're consciously aware of things and you're looking at the signs that are like, because people are so stuck in their conscious, once you're in the subconscious realm, you look at people's behaviors, you start to read people, you start doing like reverse psychology. And I'm not saying like we're not even doing this consciously, it's because the human mind itself is in such a low vibrational level of awareness that people forget this shit is just natural. When you're like a master of the psyche, when you're a master of your energy, when you're a master of the spirit realm, like this shit is everyday shit we're all supposed to know how to do, right? But that's the thing, though. If people are disrespecting themselves, like, nah, I don't got the power. Of course, we're not operating in the world. We don't got the power. The truth is, you have the power. I have the power. But it's our lack of awareness of the operation of the power that gives us this dissonance and a lack of ability to apply ourselves in the world in a way that is effective and in a way that allows us to redeem the prize of life, which is whatever we deem it so. Whatever you demand from life, life will give it to you. You just have to choose that that's what you want. And sometimes you choose being a fucking loser. When you choose identifying with your inner sucker, with your inner bitch, you're gonna manifest things like a bitch. And then you can't blame anyone else other than yourself because of the neural connection that you have established in your mind as the dominant ruling disposition operating in the world consciously through your behaviors and stuff like that. So when you get that receipt back from other people, someone disrespects you, it was all because a motherfucker disrespected themselves in the first place. And it doesn't go no further. They're the motherfucking that. You will never be disrespected in your life if you just fucking respect yourself. If you demand the price that you want to, with I'm not talking about like, knocking on motherfuckers' doors and being like, "Hey man, you owe me $1 million." I mean, you could do that. Someone might give it to you, but I'm just talking about really feeling like you are worth it. Because whatever you say your worth is, whatever the price that you establish, that's gonna be your motherfucking worth. I can go out right now and charge for consultations $300, $500, $600, whatever I establish as my value, and I'm living that value. That's gonna be the exact value that the marketplace and other people will perceive me by, and then pay me as, because that's what I said that I am worth. Whatever you say you are worth, that's exactly what you are worth. So look at your subconscious opinion about yourself and really look at that. And if you don't like it, that wheel, that hamster, it's got to get off and it's got to go, because that's how it is. With that being said, I'm at work right now, so I gotta go, man. Peace out, everybody, and shout out to everybody.